see someone, and
Right.
Brooke Shields, and it was a place, you know.
What did Robin Williams think of it?
He loved it, and he was a lover of comedy. He loved Who knows what he was thinking, but he laughed.
But because when you said that, I was like trying to think. Robin Williams on an UnCabaret stage, I couldn't see it.
No, he didn't do UnCabaret.
No, I know he was in the audience, but like it would
a
seem
lot
to
of
be
people did
vibe.
though. Jon Stewart did it. Bill Maher did it.
I can see that.
Yeah.
And
No, I mean Robin didn't. I mean Robin did what Robin did, and you know Robin was, you know. Robin came to see me when I was still working in New York, when I was working at the Bottom Line. I mean, I remember him being in an audience. He would go see stuff.
No, and Robin was actually went to see one of my shows.
Yeah, he loved comedy.
Right, no, he would always pop in. Like I would hear things like, but one time I was in San Diego, like I didn't even know he was there.
Right.
Somebody's like, Robin Williams was here. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me.
Yeah, no, he used
I'm glad I didn't hear because I would have.
he would go watch. Yeah.
But let me ask you, because you're on stage, and like you say, you're talking to the performers.
I'm back. I'm at the booth, and they're on the stage,
Right.
and I'm chatting with them.
Did any in the beginning? Did any comedians did that throw them?
I don't think throw is a word that I would use because they're comedians.
Yeah, I'm sorry to be so in show business.
No, that's all. No, I'm just saying. I mean, some people didn't like it
Really?
for sure. Some people found it to be a little disruptive, and when I listened to the archive, I'm like, well, that was kind of rude, but it.
Beth Lapides rude saying things. So.
That was kind of rude of me. But, you know, but also I really did try to get people to be in the present, but was in the service of helping people be funnier. Sometimes I would see a place that I knew there was more comedy.
Mm-hmm.
Or sometimes, I mean, there's two reasons people don't laugh at something that could be funny. Is they have a question. When people have a question, they can't laugh because your mind is too busy with the question.
Mm-hmm.
And the other is they're worried about you. So I really was I tried to be the voice of the unanswered question in the audience, which happened because people were doing new material. So it was helping people kind of work it out, but also as a way to keep it conversational.
Right.
And also perhaps I'm a control freak. All those things are
By
true.
the way, I'm writing that down because that is very profound. Why people won't laugh.
Oh yeah.
Because you've taught comedy.
I do.
Oh, you still do, right?
I still do it.
I don't. I'm not.
I teach something that I call infinite writing now. It's you know, some performance, some writing, and it's development of your creative self.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a free lesson you can give me?
I just did.
Okay,
I just
great.
gave you a free lesson.
Oh, Ruth, can you give me a free lesson? Because that's crazy. That's actually very profound. I didn't even think about it. Because I remember when we did a show the other day, and I remember that joke. I was like, there was something that that people didn't know about the joke.
Yes, and then I included it after the fact, and then I continued from there, and then they thought it was funny.
Because they had that question.
Because they had that question.
They had that question. Yeah. So, and that's, you know, often you do develop it that way. You just on your own, you keep doing material. But if you're working in a show that's supposed to be new material all the time, you know, and it's story based, then why not ask a question? I mean, the mic was there because we always had somebody different would announce the show from the back of the room. Bob Odenkirk used to love to do Sunday. He would do a funny thing. Dana Gould was always really funny on the intros.
He's great.
We would always pull somebody in and they would do the intro from the back of the room. Now, you know, we have music opening and it's a little bit more of a show. Now we have a little bit more. We've polished it up for the 2000. You know, the millennial version is a little more of a show.
Oh, okay. So it's amazing the talent that you've had throughout the years.
We've been very fortunate.
I mean, yeah,
and blessed.
And
hashtag blessed.
But I mean, but a hashtag. These are people at the beginning of their career. I mean, you had Bob Odenkirk. You had
I'm gonna say not the beginning of their career because Bob Odenkirk after Saturday Night Live.
Right.
But in a formative phase.
Right.
Finding a voice, finding a new voice, developing stories.
Let's say before the country discovered them.
Before the country discovered them, yes. Before
Sarah Silverman, people like
Sarah
that.
Silverman a little bit, Patton Oswalt a lot, Dana Gould.
Well, Dana Gould's a guy that was a very successful headliner, and then became became this alternative comedy icon.
He really was.
I mean, he's amazing.
Yeah, he really, you know, he was a giant of storytelling, and then, you know, went to TV writing more. But Andy Kindler.
Sure.
You know, Mark Maron did a little bit.
Right.
You know, a lot of people did a little bit. And then Jeff Garland used to do it.
Yeah, every time
Julia Sweeney, very famously.
I was getting to that, yes. Andy Kindler, every time I do a show with him, I call him the Dean of Alternative Comedy.
He is that, yeah.
Start talking about it, he cracks up. But, no,
he has a funny laugh, too. His little Andy Kindler giggle is enough to crack anybody up. Scott Thompson, Kathy Griffin.
Yes.
Started stand-up. Literally, she did literally start out on Cabaret. She had been
How did she get on
Groundling.
Oh, okay.
Well, there was a group that came from the Groundlings. Judy Toll was a Groundling.
Okay.
And she came through another friend introduced us. And she started doing the show, and she took to it like she just loved it. And she was always like a watchdog. She was like really, if somebody did UnCabaret and cheated, she would call me the next morning. Well, they didn't really do it. They were really cheating. And even if it was like Dana or somebody, it would be like, he did that story once before. I was like, all right, Judy. You know, she was really. She was even tougher than I was about it. She was, but she knew everybody at the Groundlings, and Judy really helped me find that group of people.
Okay.
And from Judy and the Groundlings came an amazing group of performers. Kathy, Julia Sweeney.
Right.
Mike McDonald, who has one of the greatest stories ever told at UnCabaret.
From Mad TV.
But before Mad TV,
right.
He has the Faye Dunaway story. He has I Was Faye Dunaway's comedy coach, which is one of the most incredible stories. He's doing Groundlings one night. I'll tell the 1-minute version. He's doing the Groundlings one night, and Faye Dunaway's in the audience, and she says, I can't believe you make it all up on the fly. She says, and I have an audition tomorrow, Mike, will you coach me? And he's like, sure. And he's like, what's happening?
I've heard this one.
Have you heard this story?
It's the one that happens over the phone.
Yes.
She gets into that whole spat with the car.
Yes.
And it's absolute madness and chaos. And he's
on the phone in his underwear the entire time. And she's like, Mike, what should I wear? And he's like, well, the auditions. And she's like, I'm going to have my tailor take in the Balenciaga or whatever it is. And he's like, the audition's in an hour, so that's probably just wear something, you know.
Right.
And she keeps going, do my lines.
Right.
And then at the end, and she goes to the guard, like you're saying, she goes to the guard gate. And at the end, she says, Mike, any last words of advice? And he says, yes, you're Faye Dunaway. And then she gets out of the car, doesn't hang up the phone, just walks away. Anyway, so Mike came from the Groundlings, and Tim Bagley.
Right.
It came from the Groundlings. That's the main group that came from the Groundlings, but that's quite.
So Kathy Griffin's first stand-up performance was at the Groundlings. Oh no,
was that on Cabaret? Yeah. I don't know. Maybe she did in one other shot, but she really worked it out.
Right.
She was very regular, and she did a lot. She's on our Comedy Central special.
Right. And it just so the UnCabaret stopped after a while, correct?
We stopped more than after a while, because we did the 7 years at Luna Park.
Okay.
Then we did a year at the HBO Workspace, where we were developing with HBO and Warner Brothers. Then we did.
And why didn't that go?
Oh God, why doesn't TV go? Every reason.
Like today, I would think that'd be a slam dunk.
Yeah, well, we're working on it. And then we did a little bit at the Knitting Factory, Los Angeles, which was a very interesting, enormous space. And
I remember the Knitting Factory.
We did a comedy festival with the Skirball, and we were doing Say the Word, the writers reading, and then we went to Embar. So it was a lot of years.
Right.
And we were at Embar for a good amount of time. And then then I thought, it's over.
Was that about 2000?
That was in 6.
6, okay.
Or 7, or
so
somewhere.
So that's a good 12-year run.
It was a good long run, yeah. And maybe it was 7 or 8 even. I'm really not good about this. But somewhere in there, it wasn't a big closing. It was just sort of, I was spending a lot of time in the desert, and I was writing, and I was doing a new one-woman show called 100% Happy 88% of the time.
I'm getting that, but there were at that point, they had the Comedy Death Ray, they had
a lot was happening.
all of the
progeny.
The progeny,
yes.
Exactly the word I was looking for. The progeny. And what did you think of the progeny?
what did I think? I don't know. I didn't get to go to any shows. I was working on UnCabaret. I was just doing my job. I don't know. I had a little